How's everybody? I'm Yolanda, and you're here with Real Talk with Yolanda. So today, we know that September 6th is a big primary here in Delaware, and I have 3 of great candidates here that we're going to monopolize all of your 30 minutes of time, talking about some important issues and getting to know them a little bit better. So today I'm here with none other than, of course, J.Mohammed for State Rep, 16th RD.
Thank you.
And I'm also here with Kerri Evelyn Harris.
Thank you.
U.S. Senate candidate. And Chris Johnson, thank you,
Good afternoon.
running for Attorney General for Delaware. So I'm going to turn it over now, and I'm going to let them speak a little bit about themselves, give us a little bit more information about what's going on and what is important to them and is going to be important to us in their candidacy. And when they win,
Yes.
Delaware voters over. Okay, so let's start with J.Kim.
Oh, well, I'm usually on the co-host for this particular program, but today I'm the candidate for this program. So the 16th RD, a lot of people always ask me where's the 16th district at. It basically from Southbridge all the way down to Old Newcastle, and there's some things in between there. Buttonwood, Dunleaf, Simon's Gardens, Holloway Terrace. Big shout out to Swanwick, Castle Hill. That's important to us. Our district is very vital to Delaware. We're the first stop off the Delaware Memorial Bridge, so it's very important that we actually have a great district. I love the 16th district, and I'm telling you right now, we have a chance to change Delaware for the better. I ain't gonna monopolize the time. I'm just gonna shoot it over to Kerri Evelyn Harris.
Well, thank you, J.Kim. Again, my name is Kerri Evelyn Harris. I'm a Democratic Senate candidate, U.S. Senate candidate. I'm very, very happy to be running this race. There's so much momentum going, and people are ready for change. We are ready to have health care that is, we are all able to use. We are ready for our children to be properly educated. We are ready for our criminal justice system to become balanced for the very first time. We are ready to make sure that when we work, we get paid a dignified wage. And we are not willing to wait 1 more year, wait 5 more years, wait 10 more years. We're ready now. Our families are falling apart because we do not have our basic needs met, and I'm ready to fight for you to make sure they are met. Thank you. And Chris.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm joining my fellow change agents here, and what I'm running for Delaware's Attorney General. What I'm looking to do is to rebuild our neighborhoods. Delaware has one of the highest incarceration rates in the country, and we simply have too many neighborhoods that are destabilized because of mass incarceration. So first and foremost, we have to change the laws and the policies to make them more fairer. We have to end cash bail. We have to eliminate mandatory minimums, and we have to reinstate a full parole system in Delaware. And besides that, we have to also change the culture of prosecution, where it goes from one of arresting and winning to one of fairness and justice and treatment. And besides that, I also look at the criminal justice system holistically. We need to work on social justice reforms as well. As long as income inequality, lack of affordable housing exists, lack of access to health care, even lack of access to clean water in Delaware, we lose. So we must have battles on all fronts, joining these wonderful candidates and really make change in Delaware, because I believe Delawareans are now ready.
All right, so that was a great introduction.
Yes.
Thank you.
All of you have been through all the forums and debates
Yes.
and all the ups and
Oh,
downs and
yes.
all of that, but we're not going through all that today. We're not going to happen to have all of those different types of questions. I really want you to speak from your heart to let people know what it is that you want to bring across and how you want to best serve Delawareans. So first thing I'm going to ask any of you to step up to talk about are veterans.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to speak about veterans because I'm a veteran, my husband's a veteran, Kerri, you're a veteran.
I am.
Chris,
Sure. No.
You support
no.
veterans.
Yes, I support veterans.
so
All
that's
right.
the
Veterans
best
are
thing.
my
So I'm going to let you talk about that. and-
Well, can I kick it off?
You can.
All
Go,
right.
please.
Well, listen, as a United States Army veteran, I have all the love for all of our veterans that served our country with honor and distinction. But more importantly, I don't want to do just the talk service about it. Our Veteran Administration needs help. If you elect me down to Dover, believe you me, veterans issues are forefront on my policy. Believe that. And I know it's the same for my
Yes.
my fellow airman.
Yes, that's correct.
She's an airman.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to kick it to you. now.
Okay, all right, yes, I was proud of my service in the United States Air Force. I make the joke with everybody in the Army, the Marines, the Navy. We all had a choice. I made the right one. But let me just say, again, just like Jakim, I'm sick of hearing lip service. Thank you for your service, and then we keep falling behind.
Yes.
We're seeing veterans actually dying before they get the services that they've earned. And even before they become veterans, active duty troops, reserves, National Guard, we have these humongous budgets that are passed by Congress, and we forget the troops in it. We keep making sure that the Boeing, Lockheed, Blackwater, their pockets are getting deeper, but we don't have the resources we need to excel as troops, and we need to fix that. When I make it to Congress and I am your next senator, I will make sure that I fight for you, my fellow veterans, my active duty service members, my Guard members, my
Yes.
reservists. We need to be there. We need to stand up and say, you will not just give us lip service any longer.
And I join my colleagues in standing up for those who the system leaves behind. 'Cause right now, veterans make up a good portion of the homeless population. So we must make sure they receive the services they need, both the treatment services and the mental health services. And right now, we're not allocating enough resources on the federal or state side to our veterans. So as your Attorney General, I will make sure that we spend money on treatment and prevention and intervention services and not incarceration. Because right now it costs about $45,000 to house someone for a year in prison. And that's way too much money. And I'd rather spend it on our veterans, on our active duty men, and our those who need services. So that's our plan. And as Attorney General, I will make sure the treatment gets in the community and used by the community.
And you know, Chris, let me just piggyback on that too. Yolanda, one of the things I always tell people, you don't have to go to Afghanistan to go to war.
Yes.
You don't have to go to Iraq to go to war. I mean, we just had a peace rally in Wilmington, and if you hear it by the press, you would think that Wilmington was at war. So not only us United States Army veterans or United States military veterans, but veterans of the struggle for peace in our United States, and especially here in Delaware. We want to kick that to them too. And the other thing, the piece that I want to say, how many veterans are homeless right now?
Yes.
How many veterans are out there that they cannot pay for anything, or they're going through services and can't get services at the VA? This is appalling. It is nasty, and I don't like it. And I will do something, whatever I can, in Dover to get it done.
Yeah, let me just jump on there too also. Homelessness is closer for veterans than we know. When I first got out of the military, I was medically retired in 2008. And if I didn't have the family structure I had, I would be one of those numerous veterans living in the streets. We are often told how Americans in general are one paycheck away from homelessness, but veterans are even closer. We're half a paycheck. And so please understand that this is something that is serious and urgent for the veteran community. Less than 10% of the population is alive and is a veteran. We need to help those that made it so that the rest of us did not have to go to war.
Yes.
So that's great. I really appreciate you being candid about it and being upfront about the things that you want to do and the things that you think that you can do. Don't bite off more than you can chew is
No.
what they say.
Yes.
So I appreciate you all being very candid about it.
Absolutely.
So, when you want to jump in with anything else, feel free.
Well, I got a thing that yesterday we were at August Quarterly, and August Quarterly is going on right now.
Oh,
so
yes.
at the riverfront, we
Yes.
will be going back to
Yes.
it a little bit later
Yeah.
on. We'll be going over there. But yesterday we went to a great book bag giveaway that McKee Booker was doing in Speakman Park. Fantastic. Let me get a big shout out to Bethel AME Church. We was
Yes.
there yesterday.
Yes.
Bethel, I love y'all to death. I love our seniors over there. That was fantastic. I know you was all over the place yesterday.
Yes,
as well, Kerri.
I was all up and down the state, as usual. Running for United States Senate. As Chris knows, he's running for a stateside campaign, and it's a lot, but it's beautiful to see the entire state and how all of our struggles are connected. And definitely August Quarterly. Chris and I were at the service this morning. I know that you
Yeah,
guys were
right.
at services throughout the week, and I'm going to tell you it has re-energized me, and I'm sure it's worked the same. I'm proud to see the African American community coming together and enjoying freedom of speech that was created so many years ago here in the state of Delaware.
So I,
And I just want to jump on what Jakim said with the activism. It really is true that you know, voters are ready for change.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
And being from the city of Wilmington myself, I've made it a point to spend a lot of time in Kent and Sussex County. And I know that Kerri has as well, where there's a lot of struggle there, even more entrenched poverty than in the city. They even have less access to treatment down there because of the roads and the infrastructure. So we have a lot of need all over. And as someone who lives in the city, I find joy in actually connecting with the residents and Delawareans who are in manufactured housing communities.
Yes.
And on our more rural areas, our farms, because they have a lot of need too, and their voice is not heard. And you know, the bold progressive candidates, we're standing up for those people who don't have a voice and a seat at the table right now.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm just going to pick it back to Yolanda real quick. And Yolanda, when we were in Minquadell, we was in West Minquadell and East Minquadell, and one of the things that we always hear, we've been to Swanwick, and all the communities on Route 9 corridor, we have already been there. If we haven't knocked on your door, we're coming now. Do not call the police. Please do not call the police. If
Yes.
you see J.Mohammed, I'm just trying to give you some information. Here's the number one thing that I hear all the time. You're the first person that ever came here and knocked on this door. You're the first candidate that, and I hear it on the bus because I ride the bus all the time. You're the first candidate I ever seen on the dark bus. Now, I know, Joe, our Senator Biden used to go back and forth to Washington on Amtrak, but I ride the bus, and I'm going to tell you something. You just piggyback off that Dover thing. We should have an infrastructure that connects Wilmington to Dover.
Yes.
Those
Yep.
two big cities should have better public transportation so that we can go back and forth. They're struggling down there in Dover as well. Our poor community down there, some of the black Latinos and some of the white folks down there, it almost looks like Alabama in some times, some places. And I said, we should be connecting with them. So I'm a big advocate that we have a better public transportation system, one that goes down to Dover as well.
Well, as a Dover resident, let me say I appreciate both of you saying that. I work up here a lot, not just because of the campaign, but even before I kicked off the campaign, and I've worked throughout the state. But oftentimes, Kent and Sussex County are forgotten, and we are struggling. There's not enough jobs. Basically, our best opportunities are working in factories or at Dover Downs. In the summer times, we get to work at the beach, and then what happens the rest of the year? And we're struggling heavily. And then when I come up here to work, we're struggling in a different way, right? There still aren't enough jobs. There's crime that is making it so people are afraid to go out in the streets, but we're tired of it, and we're ready to change our own communities and not wait for somebody else to do it. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think we're going to create positive, lasting change with some brothers like this sitting next to me, and we're going to keep pushing forward, and we're not going to wait for somebody else to fix it. We're going to fix it ourselves.
And I just wanted to get back to the heart of why I think the three of us are running is we're running people-powered campaigns. I'm a big advocate of looking at financial reports. You always got to follow the money.
You follow
and
the
if
money.
you look at who backs certain candidates, we are backed by the community, grassroots donors, and those who are invested in our cause. And that is the beauty about what we're finding in Delaware now. We have campaigns that are now part of the community and creating buy-in. And that's the special thing, because what I say, and I say this all the time, is I cannot make Delaware safer as your next Attorney General without the community. So every program, every neighborhood court program, every substance abuse program, every diversion program is going to go through the community and the nonprofit sector, because they're already on the ground working at these changes. And that's how we're going to make change in Delaware. And so our people-powered campaigns, that's the wave of the future. The campaigns run by big business, those days are numbered.
It's true. It's true. I've been saying, to piggyback off what Chris said, even if the funds that are coming in do not color your votes, the perception of alone weakens our democracy.
Yes.
And that's something we're trying to change. We're
Yes.
trying to prove to each and every one of you that your vote is more important to us than any amount of money that can come in from any other corporation. You and your vote is what we value.
No, that's fabulous. That's a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
That we just
Yes.
went over. I have some more coming up.
Okay.
But we're going to take like a little 1-minute break and talk about a few things, and we'll be coming back to you. So we're going to do our little 1-minute break for you right now.
Hi, my name is J.Mohammed, and far too long we've had decisions about us without us. My vision for the 16th Representative District is a community that works well for everyone. I've been active in the community for years, and I've spent my waking hours on the ground talking directly to community citizens. I love our community. There's no question about that. All I ask is that we remember the voices of those that are unheard. Our voices in the 16th Representative District are diverse. I offer you the experience and compassion our district needs and the loyalty to our diverse community that I am proud to call home. Not because I had to, but because I choose to. Our now will determine our future. So remember to vote for J.Mohammed on Thursday, September 6th. Together we can reshape the 16th Representative District for the better. Thank you.
Okay, we are back. All right, so right now what I want to do quickly is, I know this guy, I know that guy. But the young lady in the middle,
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to ask you a little bit.
Please do.
I know some of your background.
Yes.
I know some of the fights that you've had to fight.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I know how you struggled and how, not only about the struggle, but you struggled for us.
Yes.
So I would like you to give people a little bit of history of all those, you were the person behind the scenes in
Yes.
a lot of battles.
Absolutely.
And a lot of things that you
Yes.
fought for, especially Chip.
Yes.
Especially Chip.
Absolutely.
So please give them, you're not just popping up on the scene.
Right.
So, if you could tell people a little bit more about what you helped us get that they
Absolutely.
don't know about.
Yes, so I never thought I'd run for office. In fact, it was completely off my radar. I'm somebody completely happy sitting in the background doing the work and letting somebody else take the glory. The problem was sometimes you need somebody out in front actually leading, and it wasn't happening. And so I was realizing I was fighting over and over again, and I needed to change the side I was on to make sure that the votes were actually happening to change our society. So I've been pushing for things like Children's Health Insurance Plan, known as CHIP. Our government, our national government, was trying to pull it away, cut funding, and the people, these children in our state needed it. And I couldn't sit quietly, so I made sure I lobbied on Washington, not just with our own congressional delegation, but with senators and representatives in all of Congress to make sure that we saved CHIP. We made sure funding remained. I fought actively with coalitions throughout the United States and stateside to make sure that we saved the ACA. I fought with tax reform and stood up to Trump. Unfortunately, we lost that fight, but I continued to fight to make it clear what else we were losing. The budget that's coming up under Republicans is going to make it so that they can pull away from Medicaid and Medicare, and that's a problem. We need that in the state. We have an aging population, and a large portion of our population is living in poverty. We need to make sure we're taking care of our people. And stateside, when it comes to immigration, criminal justice reform, healthcare reform, I've worked with people in the state and nationally to make changes that will help us move forward. I just really honestly feel that we have to have representation in Senate that understands our struggles. I struggle just like you, figuring out month to month how to pay my bills, figuring out what's going to happen with my daughter, and figuring out daycare, everything. And if we don't have diversity and experience in Senate, we're going to continuously be left in the margins, and we deserve to be in the core.
Let me just piggyback on that before I
Yes.
throw it to you, Chris. The whole idea is that we are here to serve a greater cause than oneself.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've always all done. I volunteered for to be the 16th RD Democratic Chairman. I was elected for that, and being on the Route 9 corridor for the library and the Garfield Park Library and all the civic stuff that we've done, and whether it be in Dunleith or helping just the little old lady down the block.
Yes.
The deal with the Del Dot issue, or
Right.
we've been here. And one of the things that I find that is so funny, that is, people think that they can just ride other people's coattails
Yeah.
just to get on. but they didn't do the work. They didn't volunteer. They didn't do the time. They didn't take the time out their busy schedule. Believe in me, we had other things that we could be doing with the family, and friends and stuff like that, but we volunteered because community is number one.
Comes first.
Right? Am I
Comes
right or wrong,
first.
Chris?
Chris, before you-
you're correct. And
Before you jump into that, I want to say to the three of you, I appreciate you volunteering. That is a very major word right now. Is
Yes.
that you didn't have a job to go and do this. It wasn't part of your job to come and help people, to come out and do this candidacy or anything like that. You elected to do it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
chose to do it, and I appreciate that. So, Chris, you go in.
and
It's
it's
an
I have similar sentiments as Kerri, because I'm just a conduit, you know.
Yes.
This is something where I actually didn't plan to do. I actually wish I didn't have to run, because the only reason I ran because I was told by members of the community who I had worked with on justice reform that, you know, they needed a voice. So I'm a conduit for that reform in Delaware. So I'm part of a movement, and that's really the special thing. It's not about us, it's about a bigger idea. And it really is, we have to go back to a people-first government and leadership that understands the struggle. And voters always ask me, they say, well, you know, platforms seem similar and stuff. And this is what I tell voters. I say, look at what somebody was doing before they were running. You have to look at records, what they were doing when no one was watching. And so I know where I stand. I've sat in countless church basements and community centers and legal clinics and worked with the underserved community. Same thing with Kerri. I know she worked with communities. Same thing with Jakim. So that's what you look for in terms of a leader, what they did before they were running, because they're going to continue to do that when they get into office. And that's the special thing about the crop of candidates we have right now. We have a new wave right now that's ready to take action by not just saying, but doing. And that's the important part.
I like to say we're going to be a tsunami.
Right.
Tsunami, wave, tsunami.
Yes.
Yep.
We're here to roll up our sleeves
Yes.
and go to work.
Exactly.
And if you're not here to roll up your sleeve and go to work, if you're here for any special interest, any special PAC or anything, then you're not for the people.
No.
You have to roll up the sleeves and go to work. Now, in my race, no one has had any legislative. We've all been lobbyists before, but we don't have any legislative background. But I tell you this, as a correctional officer, as a former veteran, as a community advocate, whether here or in New York, one of the things I've always said, if you take care of the community will take care of all of us.
Yes.
So on that, we only have a little bit more time left, but I want to talk about, let's just dip our little toes into some healthcare.
Oh yes.
Because you
Please
know,
do.
Healthcare is, that's my baby.
Yes. Yes.
That's one of my babies.
Yeah.
So healthcare for seniors, health insurance, things like that, that's all a big deal to me. And we did get some little hope of the Delaware Prescription Assistance Program coming back, things like that on the horizon. But I would like to get all of your thoughts on healthcare and what your different offices will be able to contribute.
Can Kerri start that
She
one
sure
first?
can.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a baby for me, too. So it's something I've worked hard on. I'm very proud of it, and I know that we can get to a system where it's a Medicare for all. We need it for a number of reasons. Access is not enough. People have access now. In fact, the majority of Delawareans have health care. The problem is they can't afford to use it. Co-pays are too high, premiums are too high, deductibles are too high, and so they put off health care. We are the richest nation in the world. There is no excuse that anybody should suffer because they can't buy their prescriptions or pay for treatment. As your next senator, I will ensure that we put legislation in place that holds pharmaceuticals accountable. They cannot price gouge us so that they continuously have profit margins that are record-breaking while we have record-breaking deaths and illnesses that we cannot treat. We need a champion for us. We need to make sure that we come first. And the same thing with insurance companies. You can't make profits while we die.
That's right.
And until we have legislators that understand the urgency of health care, then we are going to continue to suffer. And so I say, vote for your health. There is no dollar amount that should ever be placed on your head. And currently, we have a Congress and a presidential administration that says we max out on your health.
We're going to Chris.
And healthcare, from a criminal justice standpoint, is a priority. We have to advocate for single-payer healthcare. As your next Attorney General, I'm looking at, again, a holistic system. those stressors of healthcare and lack of access to healthcare lead to involvement in the criminal justice system. So we must address the underlying need of systemic poverty, because look, if someone has to go to jail to get treatment, that's wrong.
That's
right
right.
now, you can't get treatment over 30 days, intermediate and long-term treatment
Yes.
in Delaware, because there's such a shortage of beds. So we have a crisis, a budgetary crisis, and just an ethical crisis. So if we expand Medicaid for all and give access to everyone, and everyone can afford it, then we're ready to go, and everyone
Yes.
can be safer and healthier.
Well, let me just give you, mine's is real quick. If we have money, and everybody always says, how are we going to fund it? How are we going to fund it? If we got money for bombs that cost $200,000 and $300,000, we have money to give Medicare and Medicaid
Yes.
for all. And that's all I'm going to say about
Thank
that.
you.
So any last words?
Vote Thursday, September 6th for J.Mohammed.
Kerri Evelyn Harris.
And Chris Johnson, real change, real justice.
There you go.
All right, this is Real Talk with Yolanda. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we hope to see you again at the polls September 6th. It's a Thursday. Get out and vote.
1 minute commercial. Choice. Either we could stay on the same path that has plagued our communities for years, or we can chart a new path that uplifts everyone. On September 6, 2018, vote for the People's Choice. J.Mohammed, State Representative, 16th District. Thank you.
Hi, my name is J.Mohammed, and far too long we've had decisions about us without us. My vision for the 16th Representative District is a community that works well for